Today, the World Tour of Whisky brings us to Iceland, land of volcanic activity, geothermic splendor, and now whiskey. What we have here is Flóki, an Icelandic single malt whiskey made from barley grown on Iceland. Now, this Icelandic barley is very low in sugar content. So the interesting thing about that is they say they have to use 50% more barley in order to create the whiskey. Now, if you're familiar with either distillation or home brewing beer or, small batch beer, you'll know that a lot of smaller distilleries will kind of play around with the idea of high gravity beers. Now, basically all this means is you take even more grain and cram it into your container with less water. So you end up with a more concentrated end product. The practical upshot of this is you end up with a more intensely flavored and unfortunately higher priced product. So this would be akin to something like Ardbeg's Smokiverse. This has a very pale golden color to it. It's fascinating. Although it is only aged for 3 years, so maybe it didn't pick up quite as much color as we're used to seeing. And those 3 years spent aging, we're in a location known as the Gateway to Hell. The Gateway to Hell is at the base of a very active volcano. Another unique thing about this is one of the natural resources used in the malting process is sheep dung. So instead of using peat, they will dry out and then use that as a fuel source and burn it. This does have a very unique nose to it. It almost smells like burning wet leaves, but fresher somehow. Cheers. If you have ever had a hard time picking out like the note of barley or wondering what barley even tastes like, this will be Exhibit A. Because they do use 50% more barley to create this, you really get that. It comes through. And then you also get this like bitter orange brightness, very like wet forest floor, which is the barley really coming through. And it's unique, not in a bad way. It's just like, it takes a moment to just sort of sit with it to really get used to it. Subsequent sips of this are so interesting because you're a little more used to what you're going to be getting out of it. And I've noticed now in the finish, there's like a mentholiness that kind of comes through, or wintergreen or something like that, which is fun because it's like a little earthy forest floor with the wintergreen. It just ends up really feeling fresh. If you like something unique with an absolute incredible intensity, I think this was worth seeking out. This was a lot of fun. I'm so glad. And I do love Iceland. And I was so happy to just take a little bit of a mental journey back there.